Hello there, it's Graham here, Black73Cat. Hope you're all well, guys, and welcome back. It's been a while since I recorded anything, mainly because I've been extremely busy. Been building the cave, as you can see, progress being made, paint racks are on the wall, looking hunky-dory. I'll do a proper update on the cave build slash bench update either later this week or early next. Other than that, I've had the kids off school. My little 4-year-old has broken his leg. So I've been dealing with that, and yeah, so I just haven't really had either the time, or when I have had the time, I haven't really had the inclination to do any videos. I've been more hell-bent on just getting in here and doing some modelling, for reasons which will become apparent in this video, I guess. I hadn't thought of that. Okay, so why am I here today? What am I wanting to talk to you about? Well, if you watch any of my other videos, you'll always hear me mention Models for Heroes. Great organisation, set up and run by Malcolm Childs. What he's doing is using scale modelling as therapy for forces personnel who are suffering with mental health problems, PTSD, that sort of thing. And he sets up workshops, and he essentially sits these guys down and girls down with kits and sort of teaches them basic modelling skills. To use as therapy to help them deal with the mental health problems that they have, and it's brilliant. He's doing some fantastic work, and it really is proven to be a very, very good cause. So two reasons why that sort of is something that I'm very keen to promote. Firstly, I'm ex-forces myself. I'm ex-Royal Air Force. Never saw combat or anything like that. I spent 8 years service on a Sleepy Hollow in deepest, darkest Oxfordshire. But you know, there's that whole military thing, a sort of band of brothers sort of thing. So I've got a bit of a sort of an affinity with anybody from the military who's dealing with these issues. But also I have similar issues myself. I have mental health problems. I deal with anxiety and depression pretty much on a daily basis, and have done for many years. And I just thought, there's this sort of stigma. You just got on social media, and the stigma is the tag about mental health, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it. A lot of people still shy away from it, despite the big social media campaigns. There's been a groundswelling, like it's okay to talk about it. We need to raise awareness of this, and we need to start acknowledging it as an illness rather than just something where you tell somebody to pull yourself together. Which is what I've had said to me on a number of occasions. Like, it's the old adage, if you've got a broken leg, everybody can see it and give you sympathy. If you've got a broken head, nobody can see it because it's all inside. And that is very, very true. But there are big sort of campaigns to sort of try and end that stigma. And you know, to some degree it's working. More and more people are opening up and talking about it and that kind of thing, which is really good. And that's sort of where I'm going with this now, because I didn't start modelling for therapeutic reasons. I fell into this purely by accident. If you watch a few videos back, you'll see the reasons there why I fell into it. So I won't sort of go through all of that again. But it wasn't for any sort of therapeutic reasons at all. That's been a happy accident. So I just thought what I would do is maybe explain a little bit about my situation, about the issues that I deal with. Not going into too much detail, because I don't want to use you as a counselling service, but just to sort of try and explain how my head works, if you like, or doesn't work, and I'll try and explain how I've found that modelling is helping me. And hopefully that could be benefit to somebody with similar issues. Maybe you could recommend it to other people who have got problems with mental health, and it may just be that it can help them too. So where did it start? Well, I suppose about 15-20 years ago was when I first sort of acknowledged the fact that something's wrong here, something's not right. It was the first time I sort of went and sat in front of a doctor and said, I've got a problem. And at the time, the only options were either to go down the medication route or go for counselling. Well, actually, saying that was the first time I acknowledged it. Looking back now, I can remember things that happened in my childhood. I can remember sort of very specific incidents from when I was sort of like 9-10 years old, of things that happened that triggered what I now know to be anxiety. Not on a major scale, but I can remember feeling the emotions that I feel now when anxiety gets a hold of me. Do you know what I mean? So whether it's genetic or what, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's always been there, and it's only really started to sort of manifest itself, more apparently as I've got older. But yeah, so I went to the doctor about 15, 20 years ago, and I said, "Oh, I've got this problem." And his stock answer was, "It's either medication or counselling." Well, I didn't want to go down the drugs route. I'd heard all the horror stories. I'd heard about all these people who said they get addicted to them and that kind of thing. So I wanted to avoid that at all costs. And the only other option was counselling. Well, I'm not really receptive to it. I'm not some kind of old-fashioned bloke. We're sort of 1950s sort of stiff upper lip, pull yourself together values, but for some reason the whole sort of counselling therapy type thing doesn't really sort of, I don't connect with it. And I did try. I went to one session and I just walked out. I didn't walk out, I wasn't rude. I sat through it for like half hour, 40 minutes, and I just walked out, and I just thought, you know what, that's not for me. It wasn't going to work, and I resolved to sort it out, to deal with it myself. I was like, look, I don't want to take the drugs. The counselling's the only other option. I'm receptive to neither, so there's only one person only one way I'm going to deal with it, and that's me. So I sort of essentially resolved to try and find ways to deal with this thing. And you know what I thought I was? I thought I'd managed to sort of deal with the depression quite well. I think I wasn't having the big, I have had some big dips over the last 20 years where I've gone down for like 6 months and just been in a the black dog's been there all the time. But more recently, I've managed to sort of learn how to control that, recognising the signs, the little feelings, and knowing that I was starting to go down. So I was trying to consciously acknowledge that and then do things to sort of ease it a little bit. So maybe I would withdraw from some situations, or I would just disconnect from something that I should have been doing, or I would cancel something that was making me a bit worried, or whatever. Stay away from somebody who I'd maybe had a minor falling out with, which meant nothing really, but in my head it had got me upset, and I'd started to go down. And I could usually bring myself back, in a much shorter space of time. Sometimes within just a couple of hours, I could manage to just process it all and get myself back up again. Other times it would just be a few days or a week or so. But I haven't had a great big long deep sort of 6 month pit of Hades sort of depression for quite a long time. I've learned to sort of deal with that. But the anxiety is a bit more tricky, because that's something which I can't control. There are things there that just wind me up like beyond anything that you could imagine if you've never had anxiety. I mean, things like noise, being in a busy place. It depends on the environment, and it depends on the atmosphere in there, but if I'm in sort of a restaurant or something like that, and I've got like tables near to me and people are talking, so I've got a conversation going on over here, I've got a conversation going on over here, I've got my wife talking to me, I've got the kids chattering or bickering between themselves, and I've got the music playing, and I can hear the chefs, the cooks going in the background, I can hear pans clattering and stuff. That cacophony drives me bonkers. I feel like my head wants to isolate each sound and listen to each sound individually. I can't just accept that there's background noise going on. I need to kind of process it. So I want to listen to that conversation, I want to understand what the kids are saying, or I want to tell the kids to stop arguing, or I want to have a conversation with my wife, and I want to listen to what the music is on the jukebox, and I want to, and all of those noises, I feel like I need to just get tight chest, and I need to just get out. That's probably one of the main ones. Frustration is a big deal. Somebody, especially like I'm the worst for sort of internet trolls. When I know somebody's wrong and I am 100% cast iron right, yet they still go and go, it makes me really. It's not angry. It doesn't make me angry as such. It just makes me feel ill. I start shaking and panicking and all kinds of stuff. And it's silly. It seems silly, but that's how it is, and that's how these things affect people. And that manifests itself in things like, everybody shouts at their kids, everybody gets cross with it with their kids, and everybody argues with their missus and stuff sometimes. But when it gets on top of me, what I was kind of doing was thinking that I was dealing with it. I had my ways of dealing with this anxiety thing. But how that was transpiring from the outside looking in was me just being like a constant bear with a sore head, snapping at the kids all the time, not wanting to do anything with them, just getting grumpy with my wife and looking for any excuse to pick a fight with her. All of these kind of things that in some weird way were helping me to cope with it, weren't helping my family at all. And it kind of dawned on me, and I thought, this isn't good. Something's got to change here. So this is only about 18 months ago, a year ago, and I gave in and I went to the doctor again and I said, look, I thought I was dealing with this. I thought I built up these coping mechanisms, but in reality, it's not. It's working for me. I guess what, and I've heard other people say this as well, you become sort of comfortable in that zone, it becomes normal for you, and you just kind of get used to dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. And whilst I thought I was doing okay, and I just accepted my lot, it wasn't okay for other people. So I gave in, and the doctor again gave me the two options. You can either take drugs or you can go for counselling, or both, ideally. And initially I was just, I don't really want to do either of them, but I kind of thought, I owe this to my family to at least give something a try. Counselling, as I say, I'm still not receptive to it, and in some ways I'm kind of scared of going to it. This is the other thing as well. Social anxiety is probably my biggest, the most apparent thing that's hit me. I can't do social events. I used to be a proper beer monster. I used to live in pubs pretty much. I almost ran a pub when I was younger, but now I can't go into pubs. I haven't been into a pub for a couple of years. Maybe longer than that, and the only time I'll go to a restaurant is if it's like a family sort of thing with the kids. I'll go to like one of the chain restaurants, like Frankie and Betty's or something like that. We don't go to. I don't go out for meals with the missus like anymore. I just can't face it. I can't explain it. I've just had to give up. I started doing archery about 18 months, 2 years ago. And I love the sport, and I was actually fairly good at it from what people were telling me when I was doing my beginner's course and stuff. But I just couldn't cope with going to the club. I couldn't cope with that environment of just being with people on a regular basis and having to discuss stuff and think about, and I'm constantly thinking about what I'm saying and this kind of thing. And it's bizarre because I'll happily sit in front of a camera at the end of a microphone and talk to somebody all day long, but being physically in person, close to people and trying to hold conversations, I just can't deal with it. And like with a lot of clubs, there's a big sort of social side to it as well, where they go for drinks and food after the club meets, and they have social competitions, and they invite people from other clubs to come in, and they have like fun days and all this kind of stuff. And I just can't do it. I just cannot do it. And there's no way really, unless you've got a massive garden and you can have your own range set up. There's no way in the UK really that you can do archery without being a member of a club. And so as much as I love the sport, as much as I love archery, and I was really enjoying the learning process, I've had to just give up. I've had to just say I can't do this because I can't do the club environment. So that sort of knocks on then to the thought of me going somewhere for counselling, because that in itself fills me with massive amounts of anxiety. So the counselling wasn't going to be a thing, but I had to try something. So I gave in after 20 years of like avoiding it. I gave in and I said, okay, I'll try some medication. And I've been taking some medication for nearly a year, I think, and it's helping. It really is helping. There's a big difference. It's the depression is almost non-existent. I would say that it's probably gone. It's not gone. It's probably still there, but it's not happening. I get grumpy. I get upset. I get down sometimes, but everybody does. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't sort of think that I was any different from anybody else. On that level, anxiety is still a problem. Like I say, I still can't do pubs. I still can't do the social events and that kind of thing. But on the smaller scale, I still get cross with the kids. Of course I do, but. And I'm certainly nowhere near as grumpy. I am still quite grumpy, but I'm certainly nowhere near as volatile as I was. And just on the whole, it's just helped me to sort of accept things and take a bit of a sort of more measured view on things, if you like, and just be a little bit calmer, and not let things sort of get to me quite as much, and learn when I just need to say, okay, I need to step back from this situation a little bit. And it's really helping, but it's not 100%. But I guess about 18 months ago, I know I'm jumping all over the place here. I'm trying to sort of explain this as it's coming into my head, rather than try and sort of stick to any sort of script or anything like that. About 18 months, 2 years ago, I was driving in the car listening to something on Radio 4, and they were talking about adult colouring books. Never heard of them. I heard of colouring books, used to love them when I was a kid. Never heard of an adult colouring book. But what they were talking about was how therapeutic they can be, and how people are using it as like relaxation and stuff like that. Now, I know I could try yoga and meditation and all this kind of stuff, but again, like the counselling, it doesn't sit with me. It's not in my personality to do that sort of thing, you know. But I listened to this thing about these colouring books, and I thought, I used to love colouring when I was a kid. I wonder if I could do that. So I came over and spoke to my wife, and I said, "Yeah, do these adult colouring books?" And she said, "Oh yeah, you should get one. It might help you." Okay, so I bought a couple of books, and I bought myself a decent set of pencils, and hit YouTube and started looking at all the tutorials, because it's not just about waving it. Well, it is just about waving a pencil, which is I'll come to in a second. But there are techniques involved. There's shading and blending and highlighting and all that kind of stuff, similar to what we have with scale modelling when you're doing your final finishes and stuff. I just started learning all these little things, and I started doing it every day. And I was sitting there in the office in the house, and sitting there just colouring away. And honestly, I can't believe how much it was helping. It was just this total, because you're so focused on this small area of paper in front of you, and you're watching the image build as you colour it in. But you're also thinking about what colours you're going to use, what techniques you're going to use, and that kind of thing. And the focus is fantastic. And it seems to be that thing of being focused and concentrated, which just seems to take all of the pressure and all of the bad things away for a while. And it was working really, really well, and I was really enjoying it. And then after about 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that, I was sitting there one morning, and I thought, I better go and do some colouring. And I thought, what? I better go and do some colouring. That's like a chore. That's not a hobby anymore. That's not something that you're doing for pleasure. That's a chore. You're using that as sort of... It's almost like going and taking a pill from the cupboard. You go in to do that, to try to ease this, and that suddenly made me think, why am I feeling like this? I've really enjoyed it. And then it occurred to me that I was losing interest because all you're doing is that you're just wiggling a pencil backwards and forwards. Well, no matter what technique you're using, no matter whether you're shading, blending, highlighting, whatever you're doing, all you're doing is picking up a pencil and moving it backwards and forwards. There's no variation in what you're doing, or very little. It's just the same thing over and over again. And whilst that's good because it is so narrowly focused, at the same time it becomes very monotonous, and that's what it was doing. It was becoming monotony. So I just kind of drifted away from it, and I started doing it less and less and less, and I thought, it's not working for me, But then, as I've said before, I fell into this modelling thing just by pure accident. And after doing it for a few weeks, I started noticing that I was getting the same, I was feeling the same benefits as I was when I was doing the colouring. I was starting to feel this relaxation, especially, I didn't have my cave at the time, but especially just sitting at my bench and just in silence, and it was really, really, really relaxing. And that focus was everything was just shut out, and it felt really, really good. And then I discovered the Google Hangouts with the crowd from ISM, International Scale Modeler. Go check it out, Facebook and the interwebs on the forum. They do a Google Hangout every day, where you can join and have a chat, and need a webcam and a mic and have a bit of a laugh and a bit of banter. And I thought, I'll try that. I'll be brave. Let's the part of this therapy thing for me, is like let's try and be brave. And this is only 6 months ago. So I joined the Hangout for the first time, a little bit nervous, but rapidly realised it was right up my street. It was that, like I said before, I'm happy in front of a camera and a microphone, but I'm not so comfortable in it around real people. But what the camera and the microphone allow me to do is to interact with people, to have the banter and the jokes and tell the stories and talk about modelling and techniques and personal feelings and emotions and families and just all that stuff, but without the pressure of being sat in a room with a load of people. And it works so well for me. So I was getting, on one hand, I was getting the benefits of the concentration, the focus from the modelling, and then I was getting the benefits of the social side of things, which I wasn't getting at all, because I was withdrawn from socialness. I was withdrawn from a social circle. So suddenly I was getting both of those things, and I genuinely started to feel better. And I'm still taking the medication, and you know, 6 months on, but I'm at the stage now where I certainly feel like at my next review I can ask the doctor to reduce the dose, because I feel that modelling is helping me so much. So why is that different from the colouring then? Because you know, it's still that same focus thing, but with the colouring all you're doing is that, like I've said, and it just gets monotonous, or it can do. Some people love it, but for me it just got a bit monotonous. Whereas with modelling, what hadn't occurred to me, and this is the crux of me, because I've got a reputation for going through my life just picking up and dropping hobbies like that. I like start something, I go all into it, get all excited about it, and then about 6 months later I get bored and leave it, and just that's it, I'm done. And I'm renowned for it. All my friends and family know that, you know, oh God, Graham's got another hobby. Here we go. How long's this one going to last? What have you bought, Graham? Oh, I'll buy that off you in 6 months' time. But seriously, that's how my life has been. So of course, you know, there was the concern when I started doing this, not concern as such, but there was the intonation that it was going to happen. I was going to fall out of love with this. 6 months later, I've just finished building a massive dedicated modelling workspace in the garden. It's cost us an awful lot of money. My missus is saying, if you give this up now, you're in trouble. I'm saying, but I can't see me giving it up. And do you know why? Because it's not just wiggling a pencil right and left. It's everything. You know, there's so many different genres of modelling. I'm building a rally car at the minute. That's the last thing I ever thought I wanted to build. I've built aircraft, I've built armoured vehicles, I've started painting figures, little miniature war games. I don't do wargaming, never played war games in my life, and I probably never ever will. But I think some of the figures are really cool. So I've bought a set of paints, and I'm starting to learn how to paint figures. I want to build a ship, I want to build a motorbike, I want to build a helicopter, you know, I want to paint some bigger busts and that kind of stuff. All of these different genres of modelling that you can switch to. So doesn't have to be the same. Some people will only build aircraft, some people will only build armour, but I'm very much open, and I'll just build whatever takes me fancy now. And I never thought I'd be like that. But it's that variation that you can jump from item to item, from genre to genre, which makes it, for me, it's going to give it a much more longevity. But then on top of that, within each genre of modelling, there are different. So there are variation in skills, not skills. There are variation in activities, if you like, that keep you occupied. So, you know, 1 minute you're snipping parts off a sprue, and then you've got to sand the stuff down, and then you've got to glue it together, then you've got to be filling the panel lines, and then you've got to be, you know, putting your primer on, and then doing your top coat and your weathering, and there's all different things that you're doing. You're not just doing the same thing over and over again. You're moving from job to job to job to job to job. And at any time, I mean, the way I sort of do it, I've got, you know, I've got I think 3 or 4 kits on the go at the minute. So if I get bored of one, I can just pick another one up and do an hour on that, and it just kind of breaks that monotony, and then I'll go back to it refreshed, or I'll leave doing one particular aspect of a model and I'll move on and do something else on it, you know, to kind of break it up a little bit. And it's not monotonous at all. It's exciting, and I'm already thinking about what I'm going to build next, and I'm already thinking about what new techniques I'm going to try on my next build. And of course then there's the other side of it, where when I'm not sitting in here building and talking with the lads in the Google Hangouts, I can then watch YouTube, and I can learn more techniques and see kit reviews about things that I might want to be buying in the future and that kind of thing. So there's this whole world that's keeping me sort of busy, and it's keeping my head busy, and I'm distracted from the other stuff that goes on, and it genuinely is just keeping me afloat. It really is. It's fantastic. And that's on a sort of general basis. But then if I'm feeling like, you know, I'm a bit sort of whatever. I've got this space that I can just retreat to, which I'm very lucky to have. But it's all about this space in front of me. It's all about this little sort of 2 foot square workspace in front of me. If I really need to detach, I can come in here. I can have the laptop off and no music on, no noise whatsoever, and I can just sit in here and I can just sit there and I can just build away, and I'm in my own zone. I'm in my own little world. I'm focused on what I'm doing. I can clear my head of anything that I need to clear my head of. I can think and mull over things, and it doesn't quite eat me up as much because I'm distracted by what I'm doing in front of me with the models, and it's just I cannot explain how much it is helping me. And that's manifested itself in a couple of ways. I'm aware I'm waffling, but I'm trying to sort of express this as much as I can, in as much detail as I can. I'm very short-tempered, always have been. Something doesn't go my way, I'm the type of guy who will slam a door. In my younger days, I'll be doing stupid stuff like punching walls and stuff like that. But these days, I've got a bit older and a bit more, a bit calmer, I guess. If I lose my temper, there'll be a door gets slammed. I'll shout or whatever. If the anxiety takes me, I'll scream and rage and it can get that bad at times. And it doesn't really have to be anything major to provoke those reactions from me. And I've been like that all my life. I've always had a short, fiery temper, and if things got me upset, there would be some sort of reaction, usually of anger. Since I've been modelling, I've had some major cock-ups. Major things have gone. First world problems, but major things have gone wrong with a kit. Halfway through a build, I've pulled paint and primer off. I've broken stuff. I've spilt paint on things. I've done all kinds of stuff. And all of those things have been quite, relatively speaking, in the scheme of the kit that I'm building, they've meant redoing like a few hours work, or they've just made the problems, made the thing much more difficult to build or whatever. And normally that would have me raging and slamming doors. It's happened 4 or 5 times since I started modelling where something's gone majorly wrong. I haven't even flinched. I haven't even got upset about it. I've just realised it's happened and gone, oh, now I've got to put that right. And that hadn't occurred to me until the last major cock-up that I had, which I think was splattered paint. I was building my Porsche, and I closed the lid on a bottle of primer, and it splashed black paint all up there, all over the paintwork, and I had to start again. And I was actually in a Google Hangout when I realised that when it happened, and I just didn't even. I was like, oh, I've splashed black paint all over my model. Oh well, I guess I'll have to redo that then. I wonder if I can get it off with this. But I wasn't upset about it at all, and I should be raging because I put a lot of work into it and I was going to have to redo it, but it didn't bother me. And then when I thought about it, all of these cock-ups that I've had, none of them have got me upset, none of them have got me angry, none of them have made me disappointed. They just kind of happened and I've dealt with it and got on with it. And that's bizarre for me. That's totally not in my personality, And it just, the more I think about it, the more it's just another indicator of how much this is helping. And I can totally see why the stuff that Malcolm is doing with the Forces vets is helping him, and I can totally understand it. And I think I definitely believe it could be a benefit to more and more people. And you know what? As much as I say that there's this stigma about people talking about it, the more people that I interact with within this hobby, more and more people are sort of saying that maybe not on as much of a scale as I have, or certainly not. I never saw combat in the Forces, so I'm nothing like these guys that Malcolm's helping with Models for Heroes. And my problems are pretty minor in comparison to a lot of theirs, I would guess. But lots of people that I speak to have got a story. Lots of people have got like, oh yeah, I've got this issue, I've got that issue, and I do think that many people are using this as therapy without even knowing about it. You know what I mean? I think it's something that people have been doing for decades before mental health was something that was discussed. I think realistically, lots and lots of people are using this as therapy without even knowing about it. Oh, I'm going to go and hide in my cave. Okay, why are you doing that? Because you're stressed, because you're worried, because you're depressed, because you're anxious. You're going to go into your little safe place and sit and build your models for a while. And hey, all power to them, because it works for me, and it could just work for other people as well. I would say, I guess what I'm trying to get to is if you know, because I guess most people who watch this are going to be modelers, so you probably already know what I'm talking about. You may agree with me, but for anybody who isn't a modeler, or anybody who knows somebody who they know has mental health issues, maybe get them a kit, pick them up a start. What's that? There you go. One of those, £8, £8 from Hobbycraft or off of eBay. You get some paint, you get a brush, you get some glue. It's not brilliant. You're probably not going to turn out a fantastic model, but it'll give you a feel for it. For £8, you can't go wrong. I would strongly recommend buy one for somebody for Christmas. If you know somebody's struggling with mental health problems, buy them a starter kit. Even if you want to make a joke out of it, I remember these when you were a kid. Buy them up, see if it helps. And if you're a modeler yourself and you do think you've got some sort of mental health problems, talk about it. Be open about it. Don't bottle it up. Use the modelling to help you, but don't bottle it up, because it helps to talk. You've got to, and I know it's the current. In fact, I saw another one this morning. End the stigma is the sort of hashtag that's floating around social media. But there was another one this morning or yesterday that I saw. I think it's called Man Up. Hashtag Man Up. And the idea being that it's the what's the word? Is it the oxymoron or a paradox of the actual term man up, which usually means to be strong and don't show your emotions, but what they're actually trying to imply now is to man up means to show your emotions. There's no shame in shedding a few tears. There's no shame in talking to people about how you're feeling inside, and that's brilliant. All of those campaigns and stuff, I'm well beyond. Some of them are a bit sort of trite and cliched, but anything helps, really. Anything helps. But it is just a case of being open about it. The more people that talk about this, the better it's going to be for everybody, because it's just going to become more and more accepted, and more people are going to understand what we're going through. And there will be more things becoming apparent that, if you sit at the minute and sort of Google, things to help you with depression or anxiety or whatever, you'll find colouring, you'll find meditation, you'll find yoga, you'll probably find some weird homeopathic, put a drop of sheep's wee into 300 gallons of distilled water and drink 2 millilitres every 4 hours and you'll feel a lot better. There'll be always going to be those crackpots out there, but the more people talk about this, the more real stuff, the more real proven, not so much proven, but anecdotal, proven actually experiences are going to come out where people are saying, look, this works for me. And I believe that modelling could definitely help a lot of people, and that's why I love what Malcolm's doing. I think he's onto a great thing, and go at the website, go at the Facebook group, Models for Heroes, the Facebook page, sorry, and if you can help, please do. But if not, just go and have a look and see what's happening, see what he's doing. Because it's really good work. It's really good work, and like I say, as I've hopefully expressed in this video, it's very close to my heart. Now, look, I'm really sorry that I've waffled, and this has probably gone on for far too long. But I just wanted to kind of get this off my chest, because this is catharsis. I used to do a thing called Audioboo, which is like a blogging platform, but you don't write your blog out. You speak it. You use audio to get your thoughts and stuff out there. And I used to do that every day. I did it for a couple of years, and that was brilliant, because it was that catharsis of just speaking into a microphone and just expunging all of your problems. Not so much talking about the problems, but just to talk and just to get words out of your mouth is great. Especially if you've got social anxiety issues, where you don't really feel comfortable interacting with people on a personal level. So this, for me, this is catharsis. This helps me to sort of deal with my stuff. So even if nobody watches this ever, it still helped me in just sitting here and recording it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap that up. That's my story. That's what it's doing for me. I strongly believe it can work for other people too. Give it a try. put somebody onto a starter kit. If you know they're struggling, get them have a go. You don't need any kit. Everything's there that you need. You can make a model out of that. You don't have to spend a load of money on a shed and and tools and stuff. Really, you don't. You can do it with a starter kit, but it might just plant the seed, and it might just start to help a few people. Hopefully, I would love to see that happen. I don't usually say this kind of thing, but let me know in the comments what you think. Are you experiencing similar things? Do you find it therapeutic for yourself? Or hit me up on my Facebook page, Black 73 Cat Scale Models on Facebook, or you'll find me on the International Scale Modeler Facebook group, ISM. Just look for International Scale Modeler on Facebook. Join the group. Brilliant community. It's helped me so much. Nobody's going to critique your work if you want to show off your models on there. Nobody's going to critique your work. Everybody is very, very, very helpful. Unless you want critique, of course, then you can ask for it. But the general rule is no unwanted critique. There's not a lot of, some of these Facebook groups are a haven for misinformation. ISM is very different. Any sort of misinformation or dodgy information that comes out is quickly sort of quashed and dealt with. So you will learn an awful lot as well if you are a beginner like me. Excuse me. Or you can hit me up on Twitter, Black73Cat on Twitter, Black73Cat Black73Cat Scale Models on Black73Cat _models on Instagram. I'll get there in the end. But hit me up on Facebook or drop a comment. Just let me know what you think. If you find that it's helped you deal with any issues like that, then I would love to hear about it. So I hope I haven't bored you too much. And I've said a lot again. I keep saying that's another thing. I'm going to try and wean myself off the word Right, I'm going to go. Thank you very much, guys. I will come back with a bench update / cave update later in the week, or maybe early next week. And I've got another couple of ideas of things that I'm going to do in the near future. Now that I'm almost finished with this, I just need to get the electrics in. I should be able to hopefully start to get some more regular content out there. But thanks so much for watching. I hope it's helped somebody along the lines. I hope I've helped you in some way by just getting this out there and making it public. So thanks, guys. I'll catch you later. Take care now. Bye bye.